I have been reading a research paper about gender differences and autism, specifically focusing around women. And it's a very interesting paper and I want to share it with you. So, this paper is called Sex/Gender Differences and Autism, Setting the Scene for Future Research. And it was written by Meng Chuan Lai, Michael V. Lombardo, Bonnie A. Young, Bismadev Chakrabarty, and Simon Baron Cohen, not to be mistaken for Sacha Baron Cohen, who is in fact Borat. Anyway, this Simon Baron Cohen, he is apparently a leading expert in the field for 30 plus years at Cambridge University. So anyway, I know I said all those names wrong, probably, I'm sorry. So this paper was written in 2015. However, the predictions that it makes are very, very correct for what we actually see today, and it's been referenced thousands of times, so it's still very, very relevant. But what this paper actually did anyway, or what this research did, so the authors, they screened 1,906 articles, and they've done a comprehensive system audit looking at the relationship between gender and autism, and half of the paper is just the references. So it references 140 other papers. So anyway, what it says basically is that the science up until this point, 2015, says that the ratio of autistic females to males is 4 or 5 to 1. What this paper says, which is probably more reflective of what we actually have today, is that it's more like 2 or 3 to 1, female to male. So females are frequently missed. Everyone is missed. Females are missed more, right? That's what it's saying. And females are often misdiagnosed with anxiety, depression, borderline personality disorder, and eating disorders as well. That's very common. So they're very, very frequently missed and labelled with those conditions. So, right. So what are the actual differences? That is why you're here. So I'm going to read this verbatim because I think it's important that it isn't just my opinion. So, right, here we go. So characteristics more often present in females than in males. Greater awareness of the need for social interaction and a desire to interact with others. So they're just a bit more switched on, basically. Passivity, often perceived as just being shy instead of just being a loner, right? Tendency to imitate others, copy, mimic, or mask in social interactions, which may be exhausting, and a tendency to camouflage difficulties by masking and or developing compensatory strategies. So basically they're just better at masking than men as well, right? So we'll just add that to the list of things that women are actually better at than men. Why not? And then men can get angry about it. Right. One or few close friendships. Yeah, okay. Tendency to be mothered in a peer group in primary school, but often bullied in secondary school. Yeah, okay. Right, better linguistic abilities developmentally. So they just know better words, right, than men as well. This is interesting. Better imagination. So fantasizes and escapes into fiction and pretend play, but is prone to being non-reciprocal, scripted, and overly controlled. So this is, yeah. Hang on. Hold your horses, Sam. Right, another one. Restricted interests tend to involve people/animals rather than objects/things. So things like animals, soap operas, celebrities, pop music, fashion, horses, pets, and literature, which may be less recognized as related to autism. And then some other things that I've got here: tendency to be perfectionistic, very determined, tendency to be controlling, high passive demand avoidance, and tendency to have episodes of eating problems. Now, all of these things, I can see how they are just getting completely missed, because when I think back to the diagnosis process, and I think back to those stupid questionnaires that you have to fill out, and it, asks you these questions that are very vague, things like imagination and all, it's like, yeah, I'm rubbish at it. But if women are just generally better, okay, they're not going to score as well, right? The whole social motivation thing, it seems like females generally just understand that it's important to be social and will work on it more so than men will. So they're just better at that. They're better at masking. They're better at fitting in. So it's no surprise really that they just go under the radar, right? So interesting. Now, so the paper goes on about, talks about further research. So one of the things it talks about is better tools for diagnostic criteria, right? This just seems pretty obvious that there should be a criteria for women as well as a criteria for men, because obviously women display differently. And lifespan data for women as well. So as female age and what the long-term cost of masking is, because it seems like they mask more and it can be more intense as well. So what's the long-term cost of masking for women? Right, this was super interesting to me. Biological audits. So I'd never heard of this before. This was completely new to me. But there's a theory that females may require higher genetic load to show autistic traits. And this is called the female protective effect. So basically what it's saying is they need more autism-related genetics to actually display autistic symptoms. So the way I'm thinking about this is, although the ratio may be more realistically 2 or 3 to 1 to be diagnosed, it may actually be closer, because there may be relatively speaking, the autism-related genetics that would be at play would be similar. It's just women would not display the same kind of symptoms to get a diagnosis. So yeah, that was really fascinating. So generally, I mean, I think this is like really, really interesting. Looking at gender differences, and I want to just kind of like delve into all different types of differences, not just gender, but yeah. So in summary, the diagnostic criteria is on a male data set. It was literally built from young boys being obsessed with trains and not having any friends and that kind of thing. And it just doesn't apply. It just doesn't apply to women, especially adult women. So a lot of women are being missed. And yeah, just because they are better at masking, they are just so good at hiding it. Probably so good they don't even know themselves, right? And yeah, so because of that, they can just integrate better within society, but at a much higher cost. And yeah, the research has been going on. I think like the last decade, it's gone mad, hasn't it? Which is great. So, and the research is continuing. So let me know if you found this interesting, and if there's anything else you want to add, and if there's anything else you want me to actually look into, because I'm definitely do plan to be delving into research a bit more and trying to share it. So thanks for watching. I'm going to go because I'm really hungry. Hopefully I'll see you again.